All right. It's you know what time it is. It's that time of the week. It is Wednesday night, which only means one thing. You get us. That's right. SEC After Dark.
Jake. Jake's back.
I'm back.
Jake is the dad.
We've got our fourth amigo here.
Yeah.
We did the 3-man weave last week. Looked like
last 2 weeks.
Last 2 weeks. It looked like a JV basketball practice at some points with the 3-man weave, but we managed. But welcome back, Jake, and big congratulations. How's everything going in your dad life? Are you sleeping much or what?
Not really. But hey, it's awesome. You know, there's nothing like being a dad, Corey. You know, like I do. It's awesome. Just an awesome feeling. You know, but everybody's going well.
Yeah, Cassidy's good. The baby's good.
Everybody's good. The baby's good. Cassidy's doing well. We had to do an emergency C-section, wasn't planned. So of course she got cut open, but that's healing up really well. She's getting a little bit more mobility, so she's actually doing really, really well for it. And the baby's growing. We left the hospital. The baby was 7 pounds 2 ounces, and now she had her checkup Monday, and she was 7 pounds 10 ounces. So
nice.
she's
all the
growing.
ribs feed her, man.
yeah. I'm gonna give her some meat and taters next week, I think.
There you go.
You know,
what I'm talking about. She's getting that Alabama cooking.
That's right. Get some Alabama white sauce. No, I'm just kidding.
Don't mess around with that Alabama white sauce, man. You put that on some wings.
Yeah.
Speaking of wings, you can't get that Alabama white sauce on your new DeadSoxy socks.
No, you can't.
No.
Say that 10 times fast. Okay, so if you want to support Ole Miss NIL, make sure you head over to DeadSoxy and purchase your socks. You can purchase them in packs of 7. They come in all different designs, Ole Miss themed and neutral themed as well, like the ones that Steve is holding up right there. I think those are the Juice Kiffin ones. There's a box over his right shoulder that he's pointing at. Steve is like Vanna White of this ad read. Got to love it. So if you go to DeadSoxy, make sure you do the membership. You get a 25% constant discount. You get free shipping and a free gift. Who doesn't want all of that? So what you need to do is head over to DeadSoxy.com right now and sign up for the membership. Purchase your socks. Get a rack of 7. You got your whole week planned with socks, and your coworkers and your friends can't say your sock game is weak anymore if you go to DeadSoxy. So do that today. DeadSoxy.com. And as always, stay soxy. Also, I don't know how to bet on basketball, but betonline.ag has it. They also have NFL playoff stuff as well. Make sure they are the number 1 sports wagering site out there. If you want to bet it, they have it, including online casino. So, Jeb, if you like to play the penny slots, that's what we got. So head to betonline.ag right now. Sign up. Enter the promo code Bleav. That's BLEAV to get a 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. Betonline.ag. It's where the game starts.
And you know, Corey, it's time to get locked on pickles. Stewart's Cajun Pickles, that is. They offer a wide variety of Cajun spice products like pickles, green beans, okra, even carrots, and asparagus. This is a family company. Homemade on the Gulf Coast of Mississippi. Stewart's Cajun Dill Pickles have been pleasing pickle lovers for over 20 years now, and they've become the South's favorite pickle. These are truly the best pickles you'll ever have. A strong dill flavor with a Cajun punch, no over sour taste. And this being a small business, they strive to keep the produce fresh and local from the start and keep that final pickup product extra crisp and crunchy. By the way, Miss Tracy Ivy, Jared Ivy's mom, tweeted at me today and just mentioned that they were having Stewart's Cajun Dill Pickles with hamburgers tonight. They had the whole spread out on the table. So they tweeted it that way. So you can check my Twitter profile at @TheStephenWillis and see exactly what that looks like. But be sure to like Stewart's Cajun Dill product on Facebook and Instagram. Try these pickles, okra, and beans today. You will not be disappointed. Stewart's Cajun Dill Pickles, the South favorite pickle.
Be sure to refrigerate after opening.
Yes.
Yeah.
I wonder if these are still good. They don't look bad. I'm not going to try one.
Right, so I need to order more. I've run out of them.
Yeah, I'm out too. I got to get some more.
So we got a lot to talk about. We're going to hit the rewind button. We're going to be kind and rewind because Jake, the timing of everything that happened, all the excitement that happened in the offseason, off in Babyland, rightfully so. But I'm sure he was thinking of his response for his. He came back to talk about Ben Kalen Deboer, what's next for Alabama, how the roster's getting decimated, all that good stuff. Jake, I'm gonna turn the floor to you, man. First, start with Nick Saban. Like, he retires. Were you expecting it? Like, what was going through your head when you saw that headline?
Before we got on, Corey, I was talking to Steve and Jeb, and I was telling them, I was like, we're sitting in labor and delivery, and I get the message through the ESPN app, and it said, Saban is retiring, and I'm like, okay, this is one of those scams that we see every single year, where it's either Saban's retiring or Saban's going to so and so, team and leaving Alabama. So I was like, okay, whatever. So I get to looking deeper, and I was like, okay, that was paid out by, I think it was Chris Lowe. I'm like, okay, maybe somebody's made a Chris Lowe account and like just put it out there thinking he's Chris Lowe. I went to Twitter or X, and I saw it's a blue check mark Chris Lowe, and I'm like, uh-oh, this may be something legit, And then next thing you know, it just started coming in, everybody retweeting it and all this and that, and I was like, okay, this is real. And I was like, I'm not in the situation where I can like grieve over this retirement. I'm waiting on a baby to get here, and so I was like, whoa, I was kind of I was not expecting it, Corey, to be honest with you. So it kind of shocked me, honestly. But what Saban said, he just tired of dealing with NIL and the transfer portal and all that. So I think he's getting out at the right time. What is he going to do at Alabama in the future? He's got a office above Bryant Denny. I don't know. That's the biggest mystery to me.
I don't think he'll use that office a terribly amount of time.
No, I don't think he will either.
He's going to be like, hey man, he's like, hey man, I'm retired for a reason. I'm retired for a reason. Ask the Coke bottle.
Yeah. So but yeah, I was kind of shocked that it happened. I thought he might have give it one more season because we had some talent before everybody jumped in the transfer portal coming back. There's been some leaders who stepped up from last year's team that said, hey, we're going to stick with this new regime. And so hopefully, we still have some leadership in the locker room. But I think the team was going to be a little bit more cohesive as a unit if Saban wanted to return for another season and retire next year. But I really think the hire Deboer is really good, and we talked about that next.
Yeah, go ahead, Jeff.
No, it's because I think he probably realized that anytime he decided to retire, there was going to be chaos after it. So
oh yeah,
I don't believe he wanted to go ahead and get it out of the way, and Alabama's going through a lot right now, but it's Alabama; they'll be all right. So,
Jake, are you shocked at all at the way the transfer portal is completely eating up that program at the moment?
Not really, because I talked about this when me and Stacey, when I was able to come back and do a live with on Top Talk Live. 20 years ago, you could sell your program by the history that you have. The rich history. Alabama is one of the richest programs in the rich history programs in college football. But now, since NIL and transfer portal, it's all about who can give me the most money. Unfortunately, that's just the way the game is nowadays. So if somebody was offering somebody out of Alabama more money to go there, so be it. These kids have got to do what's best for them. So I'm not shocked at all.
Oh, Michael. I don't think Kalen Deboer is anywhere near much. I think they're not in the same zip code. I really like the hire of Kalen Deboer, strictly because like the recruiting will take care of itself. There's things in place, systems in place that Saban had that makes that recruiting kind of almost self-repair, self-recruit. Kalen Deboer just needs to keep putting oil in the machine at this point. Mm-hmm. And he does a really good job of developing talent and getting guys to play above their level. So for Washington, it was getting 3 stars to play like 4 and 5 stars. Well, now he's going to have 5 stars and he's going to get them to play like actual 5 stars.
No. That's a trap. And that's the same thing that they did with Mike Leach over and over again. was that, okay, he can't recruit well, but he can get in our system and all of a sudden he will recruit well. Can you imagine what Mike Leach will do with 5-star level players? I mean, that was the argument whenever he moved up a level, and it never happened. He didn't recruit those players at Mississippi State, at Washington State, at Texas Tech. At a certain point, and I think this is honestly the case, whenever you hear over and over again that Kalen Deboer is somebody that is going to be able to beat you with a lower roster than who he's playing against, basically what that means is he's not recruiting at a strong level. So what Nick Saban was doing, and I'm convinced about this, let's take Caleb Downs. You take Nick Saban, even coming when he came from Michigan State. Let's say he got the Alabama job from Michigan State. We're talking 2000 Nick Saban. Caleb Downs is not playing at Ohio State. He's at Alabama right now. He doesn't leave. And I think that there is going to be a recruiting glitch that happens, and the talent. Now, we're talking about Alabama might not have 74 4- and 5-star players. They might have 35. And that's the difference that I'm getting at. It's going to come back down to the pack. But at a certain point, when everybody talks about how this person has a worse roster than who he's playing, that kind of means that he doesn't recruit very well.
Well, I know, and I got to thinking about it, and that is a really good point as well. But I don't know that Washington has the same resources that he's used to. Maybe we'll see kind of a full cycle. This cycle is just kind of hang on for dear life, and most of the hay's in the barn anyway. But his first full recruiting cycle, we'll kind of see how he adjusts to the increase in resources that he has. Does Alabama take a dip in recruiting, or do they? I mean, they're going to take a slight dip. It's going to happen, but how big is the dip? Is it going to be like a canyon of holy cow, what the heck's wrong with Alabama, or is it going to be okay, he's creating a plan for okay, I have this much more money in the pot for recruiting. I have this many more people. I can go see this many more recruits, and I can do things a lot differently than I did at Washington. I don't know what his thought process is.
He needs to do is go back in time to when Nick Saban got to Alabama, just start from scratch. And Nick Saban got that by basically owning the state of Alabama recruiting wise. And today they got a recommitment from Ryan Williams, and that's a good first step for them. Mm-hmm. And I think they need to really double down. Or Ryan Williams, I think his name is. I
think you said that, didn't you?
Yeah, I thought I said Rick. Maybe I don't know.
No, Rick's
but the point of it is the early to mid part of Nick Saban's reign when he was getting the Julio Jones and those players. I think Kalen Deboer needs to do that and then expand out. If Kalen Deboer goes from a Washington environment where there's not many players, where you're recruiting California and suburban Seattle, essentially, you're not going to be able to immediately go from that and just recruit nationally. There needs to be a base again, and Kalen Deboer to become the recruiter that he might be, because otherwise it's just going to be too much. It's going to be hard.
Well, Jake, the step in the right direction, I think, is hiring Kane Womack from South Alabama as far as getting that in stride. I thought that was a really good hire. He knows and trusts him from their days at Indiana. He was really good at South Alabama. What do you think, Jake, of Kane Womack?
Yeah, that's the biggest thing for Kalen Deboer was he had to get guys that had some Southeastern, experience in recruiting and all that, and he's done that. And one of the cool things about his staff he's assembled, Kane Womack, as you talked about, Corey, he was a head coach at South Alabama last year, and then he's also hired the former head coach from Buffalo, who was their head coach last year. He's got 2 former head coaches on that staff. So I think, the staff he's assembled is really, really well. Getting Ryan Grubb and the wide receiver coach Shepard to come in with him, I think is really going to help offensively. Defensively, I've been saying this to some guys, the way it's set up and the way college football is going, defense is like a bend but don't break type defense nowadays. You don't have Georgia's an exception a few years ago when they only gave it 8 points a game.
That was probably one of the greatest defenses ever assembled. Yeah.
Yeah. You don't have that type defense much anymore. So I am perfectly fine winning ball games 56-45. It's all about offense now, and you got to have a true leader at quarterback to do that. The biggest question is, can Kalen DeBoer and that staff, Ryan Grubb, all them, get Jalen Milroe to that next step, or somebody behind Jalen going to take that next step over him and be that guy? So it's going to be interesting spring and fall camp coming up in summer to see what happens.
Well, they're going to have to compete with the Vandy State Aggie Doors.
Mm-hmm.
So that's going to be a tough matchup for them.
Yeah.
I think Vanderbilt has to do the chance to do the most hilarious football thing in the last 15 years.
Completely completely take over a program and bring it back like conquistador style, like wipe out their program and bring it back to Nashville.
No.
And then beat Auburn.
Have the same people that beat Auburn with New Mexico State come in and beat them with Vandy.
No. I mean, that could happen. Diego Pavia going 2-0.
No,
QB1, man.
In Jordan Hare.
Mm-hmm.
No, that would be God. It's like a home game for him.
Michael, here's the thing. You make a good point. Does 9-3 or 10-2 put him on the hot seat? For a lot of Alabama fans, potentially, but
it better not. I mean, that's
for the sane Alabama fans, it shouldn't, because we're not going to have that same. Now, if we get one championship, national championship, or two even with Kalen DeBoer, I'm perfectly happy with that. I'm not going to be expecting 6 in 17 years like Saban had. That's just the expectation is way too high for that. You got to bring those down.
I don't think that people should expect 6 playoff appearances in 17 years. And that doesn't happen because Alabama's football is just like Kentucky's basketball. They're going to have playoff expectations, and they're probably sitting there going, it's like, okay, we'll be okay. Making the playoff right now isn't good enough. We need to make to the semifinals.
Mm-hmm.
And they kind of have to learn what's going on. And like I said, this isn't a slam or anything like that. It's just Alabama fans that haven't had to deal with what the rest of us go through on a year-to-year basis, finally having to go through that.
Mm-hmm.
For the first time in 17 years.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
And
will fans be able to lower their expectations back to the reality the rest of us have to have? Yeah.
And coming off a national championship game appearance, I mean, even they're like, okay, well, Kalen DeBoer, you just played in the national championship. Like, you're expected to come in and do that for us. And our 5-star guys will win you a title is kind of the thought process.
Yeah. If you could do it at Washington, you better be able to do it here.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, the Harvey Updots out there are not going to allow us Alabama not being in the playoffs every single year. That's just what I'm waiting to see what happens. When we have that struggle season where we're going to win 9 to 10 games and miss a playoff.
Yeah. So, I mean, and they're going to expect Jalen Milroe to be Michael Penix Jr.
Right.
Here's Michael.
Go ahead.
Real quick. Michael, I love it. Yeah. There you go.
Here's the thing. If I really think DeBoer is going to be good at it for Alabama. It's just we got to give him time and let him get his system in place. We got to get it completely away from the Saban system and let Kalen DeBoer do his own thing. Whether or not the boosters allow him to do that would be a different story.
Yeah, my question that I have is, Nick Saban was powerful enough at a place like Alabama to where he was able to push the boosters out the door and kind of being the dude.
Right.
And once Nick Saban was gone, those people that were in control when Mike Shula was calling the shots for Alabama, all of a sudden they're going to come back and try and get control again. Is a man from South Dakota, from Washington, does he have enough power to say, no, this is mine? Or is Bear Bryant Jr., I'm just saying that name, of Paul Bryant Jr., all of a sudden he has the gravitas to get it, whatever he needs to get done?
Right. That's a very good question.
I mean, and if they do that, Jake, y'all are gonna turn into Auburn.
Yeah.
Where it's just boosters run amok and ruin the program. For your sake, Jake, I hope that doesn't happen to you, because it's just completely ruined places like A&M and Auburn.
Yeah. I would say,
for a while.
I would hate to see that.
Yeah, I would say Deboer has a chance to make a statement in the third game next year, and that is against Georgia. They get him at home. If he needs to come out with a fire, the team needs to come out with a fire. And if they beat Georgia, then maybe some of this will be like, okay, maybe Alabama is still the old Alabama. But I'm like, Stephen, like, your point, how's Alabama going to be 2, 3, 4 years down the road? That and the recruiting, once the players there now, like you said, Corey, or 4- and 5-star talent, they're really, really great players. How are they going to be 3 or 4 years from now when Kevin Deboer has several of his recruiting classes in there? How are they going to be?
Yeah,
and that's going to be the determining factor,
right?
Like, that's really going to tell us a story. Like we don't know that he can't recruit. Maybe there's factors in place that prevent him from doing so.
Mm-hmm.
Like he doesn't have Nike backing him. He doesn't have the Southern California allure that UCLA and USC does, or he's trying to go into Texas and compete with the Longhorns, and like he's like we don't know the factors involved, all the factors involved with his recruiting. We knew that Mike Leach detested recruiting because he was in a recruiting hotbed state at Texas Tech, and he still refused to recruit.
Right.
He just doesn't like doing it. We don't really know that about Kalen DeBoer, but we'll soon find out.
Yeah, because this conference is unforgiving. It's not a situation to where if you can't do it, you'll be all right. If you can't do it, you'll be exposed.
Mm-hmm.
And at a place like Alabama, you probably, if you get exposed, they're not going to suffer you very long, and you'll end up being Ray Perkins, and then they'll go after their Bill Curry.
Yeah.
And
is that James Franklin?
Jake,
what would you do if they hired James Franklin?
Yeah, I hope not.
That was the most random name I could think of.
But hey, Jim Harbaugh tried desperately to avoid what happened at Alabama happening at Michigan, but now a 30-day transfer portal window for the Michigan Wolverines is available, with Jim Harbaugh going to the LA Chargers, and Ole Miss still has over a week left in this drop ad date.
Mm-hmm.
And so they might not be done. I would, like Donovan Edwards and people like that, I would probably pay attention to him for a couple of days.
But he's also probably passing the torch to Sherrone Moore. Like I think that's why he waited so long as well, so that Michigan could just pass it down to Sherrone Moore, because I thought Sherrone Moore did a really good job in the interim.
But Sherrone Moore did a really good job in the interim because Jim Harbaugh was still the de facto leader of that program.
Right.
They're going to have the same problems even if they promote from within, because you're going to have Jim Harbaugh, and I think the defensive coordinator might be going to Los Angeles. And if that happens, you've got the chaos that's going to go. It doesn't matter if Sherrone Moore is getting hired at all. It's still a new coach. It's still not Jim Harbaugh. That's like you have Nick Saban and going to Kalen DeBoer. I mean, you look on paper, Kalen DeBoer is like 112-12 all-time coaching. You still have problems.
I think all of our beards will be as long as his if we wait on that.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
Jeb.
I even bought some new movies for my set. Well,
are you ever going to review them?
Well, probably one day. Can I ask a question just as a fan, because I don't really know that much about, like I said, the coaching. Yeah, shut up. I don't know that much about the coaching and how it works. So you saw what Kalen DeBoer did with Michael Penix this last year, and you've got Jalen Milroe there at Alabama. Do you feel like that could be a repeat, or was there some other factors like an offensive coordinator or something?
Alabama fans are like, you better be a repeat.
Yeah, well, I mean, I feel like he's got more talent at Alabama and a better quarterback. Although, I don't know. I mean, I know I'm not trying to talk down about Michael Penix. He did an amazing job this last year.
Michael Penix is more of a drop back guy. He could throw the ball better than Jalen Milroe.
You think so? All right.
He's not a
Jalen's
run.
Got a good arm.
Guy. Penix is a guy that runs because he has to, and is good at it, but doesn't want to.
Milroe has, he has his pauses that he does. He's got a beautiful deep ball. And he worked on his intermediate game as the season progressed. But the biggest thing with Milroe is his pre-snap adjustments. If you see five guys or two extra defenders on the right-hand side, you got to shift the line that way, and he doesn't see that. I mean, how many times did they get a free rush, or Michigan get a free rush in the championship game or the playoff game? So,
apparently 5 times.
Yeah, 5 times. Yeah,
5 times.
He raised his hand.
Right.
That
and he
too.
never saw it, and it just got lit up. So he's got to work on that if he wants to make that next step. But
Ryan
makes
Grubb's
sense.
going to help that, man. Ryan Grubb, the play calling, I think, is going to be tremendously better. I mean, you saw the evidence is there at Washington, with the play calling, the play designs, the situational. They did really well situationally. Is the reason why they were in the national championship to begin with, because there were some games that they should have lost that if they didn't, I think there was a couple games that Grubb won them because he put them in good situations and really got one over on the defenses that they were about to lose to. So I think for that reason, he'll improve. I don't know how much, but I'm not saying he's going to be Michael Penix Jr. Because they're two totally different styles, but I think he will be a lot better than he was a year ago because I think his coaching will be a lot better. Now, how much difference that's going to make, I guess we're about to find out. But I think I really like Brian Grubb's here. Tommy Reese is going to the Browns, by the way.
I will say, I'll say two more things about this. Kalen DeBoer is 5-0 all time against Steve Sarkisian and Dan Lanning. So two of the best coaches in college football right now. So that's positives. And the other thing is Michael Penix came to Washington from Indiana and could not get on the field and stay healthy at Indiana, and then became
under Kalen DeBoer. He played with Kalen DeBoer at Indiana.
Yeah, he followed him.
Tore both his knees. Yeah.
But again, Corey, Ryan Grubb kind of helped Kalen DeBoer develop.
They had a better strength program, I think, too, at Washington.
Yeah.
Alabama, if you're looking for somebody that you need to pay attention to, Deuce Knight is the quarterback you need to pay attention to.
That's a good
that is the recruit that Alabama is trying to get.
Yeah.
That's Michael Penix. That's who you need to pay attention to. And speaking of which, 40% of the Joe Moore award-winning offensive line, it looks like they're getting ready to transfer to Ole Miss. So that's just another thing we need is really good trench players. So
did y'all just eliminate the scholarship count? I mean, how are y'all recruiting everybody? That just doesn't make sense.
We're
Did you
recruiting
lose
everybody.
50 people to the NFL?
We're going to lose people. We're going to process people out. They'll be at the 85 number.
Did you guys get a special waiver like the Army and Navy where you can sign where you have 175 scholarships?
Because we can't bring anybody in. We're at the limit
because nobody pays for going to the military academy. Everybody's on scholarship.
That's what I mean. You show up to Ole Miss and you're on scholarship.
Yeah. I just don't understand how
you get a scholarship. You get a scholarship.
I understand how some of these schools are bringing in so many people.
Hell of an ROTC.
It's one of those things that Ole Miss actually has it set up right now to where if you want to go to Ole Miss as a transfer portal player, when you get brought in, it takes kind of a special dude to say yes and agree to that because these guys are good, like legitimately good. Mm-hmm. And there's some people that would be happier going 6-6 and going to a bowl game with a guaranteed starting spot because you come to Ole Miss, it's not guaranteed that you're starting. And that's pretty cool.
Spencer Sanders, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. It's just, it's crazy. I don't understand how Lane Kiffin is convincing so many people to go there unless you just have
it's competition, man. Outs come to practice. Like they're going to see practice tape. They're going to watch practice is
practice.
This is the Nick Saban, Kirby Smart, Lane Kiffin, Steve Sarkisian model. Like practice is highly competitive.
It's harder than the game.
Harder than the games.
Yeah, the most talented quarterback on that campus is Austin Simmons, and he's basically a 3 inches taller to a Tagovailoa. That's what he is, and he's sitting third string right now.
I mean, it's tough, man. And you go and you get the best of the best, and you go ones versus ones, man. That's true work right there. And there's a reason why these guys at Georgia develop There's a reason why guys at Alabama develop. There's a reason why Ole Miss is starting to get that way now too. It's because now your scout teamers are better coming in, and they're going against the number one defense or the number one offense, and they're getting those reps, and they're improving drastically.
I'm going to find something real quick. The brand's up right now. They did a thing, and I had it for essentially Ole Miss only, so I apologize for that. But they did like the top 10 games in the country, the games of the year. If y'all think about that.
It's just Ole Miss's schedule?
No. But the Ole Miss Georgia game was in their top 10 games of the year.
Yeah.
And right now it comes in, Georgia's favored going into the line. This is from FanDuel Sportsbook. Georgia's favored by 3.5 points in that game. They got the over-under at 54.5. Granted, it's 9 months away, but
I'm going up on that over-under.
I like where the spread is, honestly.
I'm taking the same game. I'm taking Georgia and the over. Carson Beck he's coming back and he's throwing dots, man.
Who's he going to throw to?
It's just not fair.
London Humphreys, Sokovie White, Ra Thomas, Dominic Lovett, Oscar Delp. He's going to turn and hand the ball to Trevor Etienne.
It's going to be a fantastic game, but honestly, Ole Miss, when you look at their schedule and you do W's and L's, looking at Ole Miss's schedule, there are no guaranteed L's. You got W's and toss-ups is where Ole Miss sits for 2024.
That's good.
When's the last time you could honestly say that as an Ole Miss fan?
Not in my lifetime.
Yeah.
Not in my lifetime.
That's true.
Steve is enjoying every bit of this.
Oh, every bit of it. And all of my fans that tune into the Locked On Ole Miss podcast, we are going to party for the next 12 months and do all of that. By the way, I had my first meet and greet as the host of Locked On.
I saw that.
Yes.
Jeb, you went too, didn't you?
I did.
Yeah. So we got some free beer, some free food. We talked a little ball.
Nachos.
Yeah. And like people drove like over an hour to be there to meet. It was like, it just blew me away.
Yeah.
And that was so much fun. I guess I need to do that a little bit closer to the state of Mississippi in the future. But for 36 hours notice for Lakeland, Florida, able to string that many people together was pretty cool.
It was actually a lot of fun. It was really interesting. Even though I'm not a Ole Miss fan, but that's all right. It's still fun.
Explosive defense. Yeah. So, Vandy, Clark Lee calling the shots at Vanderbilt, man. It's like they're going to get after some people. I don't know. They're going to be severely like lacking in talent, but it ain't going to be for lack of scheme and lack of toughness and lack of effort this time around. I think the way he calls games, I think he's realizing that he can't be a robot. Clark Lee, he brings a lot of pressure.
I am Clark Lee. I am a robot.
I just want to see Jerry Kill when he looks over at Hugh Freeze.
Oh man,
I think he's just going to stare at him the whole game like this, just not move. Just going to stare at him.
It's going to be kind of like the Bourbon Bowl with Coach. Yeah, he just freaks out whenever he sees Jerry Kill just standing over there looking at him.
Yeah, he's gonna be like, "Oh God."
Yeah.
Talk about all the coaches that are bolting that bolted at Auburn. We talked about that last week too.
Yeah.
Patrick Nix getting the offense coordinator job. They got rid of Cadillac, which was a terrible mistake.
Yeah, that made a lot of fans mad, Auburn fans mad when that happened.
Yeah, but they've got Derek Nix.
Did I say Patrick Nix? I meant Derek Nix.
Yeah. A little over a 6-hour drive for me, and plus would have been half blind, and a mix of liquor is not good. Yeah, I understand, James. Yeah, I'm going to do it closer to Mississippi. I'm thinking about in July having a little tour, essentially, to where I go to Vicksburg and Jackson and Meridian and like maybe Mobile and then Destin and head on back to the house.
Nice.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Call me when you're in Destin. I'll go there.
Okay, I'll answer this one.
Shane Beamer is one of them.
Shane Beamer. I think Clark Lee's seat is red hot. I think that's why you're seeing him do what he's doing right now. I think that's why you see him finally taking over the reins.
Sam Pittman.
About that.
Sam Pittman for sure.
Sam Pittman his seat scalded him.
And Billy Napier
sit back in it. Oh yeah, Napier.
And I don't care what anybody says. Kalen Deboer has a little bit of a hot seat from year one in the first game. There is no honeymoon.
I think they give him a year.
I think Hugh Freeze's seat will get a little warm.
Well, they got to win 8 games this year.
Yeah, if he loses to Vandy,
which is going to happen. Actually,
I would love that. Please.
So
Napier seems like a confusing one because looking at their schedule, you think they're going to lose a lot, but they're doing really well in recruiting. So I mean, do you fire a coach like that?
They're going to go 2-10.
Yeah, they're going to lose a lot this season.
Do you not know who they lost? They lost a bunch of guys to the portal, like a bunch of difference makers to the portal.
Well, yeah, that's true.
And their schedule.
But they're bringing in some big recruits. I don't know. It seems tough to like fire somebody if you know you're getting because you're going to lose those recruits.
It's a wrap. No, you can get the recruits back if you hire the right guy. Like you can't you can't do that. You can't like tank your pro. Like they tried to do that. Well, no, they didn't try to do that with Dan Mullen because he doesn't recruit. But I'm trying to think of an example of like where a team was scared to fire their coach
with the transfer portal. It doesn't matter if you lose your high school guys.
Well, I guess the question is it Napier's fault if they lose a lot of games this year? Because looking at their schedule, they're going to. I mean, is there anything he could do to stop that?
See the head coach?
Well, yeah, I guess it
is his fault. That's the position he signed up for. Like he's responsible, and
would Florida hire Urban Meyer?
God, they probably would.
Yeah, probably.
They probably would.
Want that to happen and really don't want that to happen at the same time.
Nah, it ain't the same, Urban.
Well, then in that case, I want it to happen.
Yeah. Give that guy an AR-15 and we're ready to go.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Literally.
I don't want to get off topic, but, going to NBA at the dark here. What about Milwaukee Bucks firing their coach? And they win 30. They're 30-13 right now. And they fired him to get Doc Rivers. I mean, that was insane.
What did he do?
The only way I can explain that is it's the NBA.
Yeah, that's true.
Oh, well, it's a good
Budenholzer or whatever his name was.
No, it was like Griffin Mitchell or something like that.
I thought who does Budenholz?
Michael Specs asks, is Florida still a top job? I don't think it is.
No, I don't think it is.
Really?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't like Florida, but
Adrian Griffin was his name.
It's top job-ish.
Think about this. They've hired 2 really good football coaches that won national championships. Other than that, they haven't won consistently very much.
Right.
I mean, before Spurrier, they weren't. You're right.
Yeah.
They were awful before Spurrier.
Yeah. And then you got the Urban Meyer thing, and Urban was able to pull it together.
Yeah.
But
after that,
nobody else has been able to do it. And like at Alabama, every coach that has coached at Alabama has won at least 10 games or something like that, some ridiculous stat like that.
Yeah.
You can't say that at
100 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good point.
I think a lot of people would say it, but in reality, it's not. I think a lot of people are like, oh, it's Florida. They're in the state of Florida. But Florida State is now re-eclipsed Florida.
Yeah, I think that's true.
As the top dog in that state.
Yeah.
And one of the things I keep seeing, talking about, is top jobs and stuff. People saying that Auburn's still a top job over Ole Miss. I just don't see that anymore right now.
Not anymore. I mean, it used to be.
It used to be for sure.
But, used to be, but Auburn's another weird place. Like they just it's. I think it's more top job-ish, but I don't know. It's hard to explain.
Yeah, it's almost like a job. Like, it's a great job, but it's one that a lot of coaches probably wouldn't want,
right?
Or at least would think twice about before taking.
Like if you look at the rosters right now, and both jobs were open, and you got interviewed by both jobs and got offered, which one would you want to go to? It'd
Do
be
you get
Ole
to keep
Miss.
all those people they're bringing in through the transfer portal?
Let's just say yes. Yeah.
Then Ole Miss.
Right.
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course. Ole Miss roster is like 10 times better than Auburn's.
Right.
Plus, Oxford is beautiful.
Yeah.
I would live there.
Yeah, Auburn is like the example of the program. They were born on second base and thought they hit a double,
Yeah.
or act
there you
like
go.
they hit a double. I mean, as a program, that's what they are.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And because everything is like, it's like Cam Newton was really good and you won a national championship. They are still living off of Cam Newton winning that national championship.
And that's been what, 13 years now?
Yeah, and
I
they're
think we
going
made a
to.
mistake firing Gus.
Oh yeah, I do too.
Oh yeah.
He was good.
Winning 9 games a year for him.
He
And,
was good.
mm-hmm.
He was good for them. He was just a little bit different. He'd frustrate you at times, but like he was good. He figured out how to beat Saban.
Yeah.
The only one that could do it.
Right. And they fired him.
And they fired him. That's is A&M a top job?
I won't want to deal with a Colt.
I don't think so.
No.
Like whenever A&M was open and everybody's like, well, Lane Kiffin's going to A&M. And it was like, why?
Yeah.
Literally, A&M's one of like 3 programs in the SEC that has not won a Big 3 national championship since like 1940.
Yeah, it makes
Okay,
it a proper place for you to become a legend, though.
Let's start matching up these jobs against other jobs in the country, though. Okay, so let's go back to Florida. Let's say you interview at Florida and you interview at Penn State and Iowa.
Oh, Florida in those situations every time, because you still have the players that are in Florida.
Yeah,
Like Billy Napier, if he wanted to, and he won't do it now, and just decided, hey, we're going to build a team out of Polk County in Florida, would be a top half of the SEC football team. This place is still ridiculously good when it comes to players. And that's going to make the job better than it is. Now, Florida was the last team in the SEC, I think it was, to have an indoor practice facility. You know what I mean? And I think Georgia was really late to get to that party as well.
Really?
Yeah, but stuff like that, stuff administratively, the way that they handle their program, their NIL collective is a joke right now. They're in danger of getting an NCAA probation over the Jaden Rashada thing.
Mm-hmm.
And there's so many problems right now with Florida. It's like the one positive thing they have. Well, 2 positive things. They've got the Swamps reputation, and they've got the players in Central Florida and North Florida and all of that area.
Mm-hmm.
So nationally, it's a top job.
No, it's not a top job. I think people need to quit thinking like that, honestly.
good job.
It's a good job, but it's I don't know, other than in this NIL world, there's probably 3 top jobs in the entire country. And it's like USC, Texas, and maybe Oregon in the whole country. And, Georgia's up there as well, but they don't have the money that Oregon and Texas has.
No, definitely not.
So
does anybody have the money like Texas has?
I think our definition of what is a top job needs to be evolved.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does, because like it's not quite as simple as facilities, recruiting, area, all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Daniel, hold on.
I've never seen anything about it.
NCAA violations. They were minor. Like they had a non-counted coach coaching in practice. He coached in a drill, got caught. They had they made a couple of phone calls outside of the recruiting window, stuff like that. Just minor stuff. Level 3.
So y'all got a Connor on y'all's squad too?
No.
No, not that bad.
He's not going elsewhere. He's just getting in the drills. He's saying, hey, Coach Schumann, step aside. I got this.
Hugh Freeze apparently is trying to hire Barney Farrar.
Oh my gosh.
And just so everybody knows, in 2014 or 2015, when all this happened, Barney, for his actions, got like a 10-year show cause that's coming to an end right now. But Hugh Freeze has no Rolodex, none.
No.
It's the same people he's trying to put together. Yeah. Ken Austin's his offensive coordinator. Derek Nix is running the same people. I'm expecting Grant Hurd. Heck, he's probably going to dig up Dave Womack somewhere and try and get him. Although Kane is the defensive coordinator at Alabama right now, which would be kind of funny, but still, he just does not have a Rolodex.
No, he doesn't. No, he has no contacts. He has no. Nobody really wants to work for him.
No.
No.
Because he throws you under the bus. That's the other thing he does. Whenever the offense works, it's because of him. Whenever the offense doesn't work, it's because of you.
And he told you that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like Philip Montgomery is not there right now. Ron Roberts is not there right now because of that.
Yeah. Yeah. Malzahn was that way to a certain extent. Like Rhett Lashley was his fall guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was one of his downfalls. Was he couldn't hire quality offensive guys because he would throw them all under the bus.
Yeah, because he wanted it to be his show, and that was important.
Yep.
They're talking right now, by the way, on my Discord. If you go to the Loom Discord, I'll link it on my Twitter. Yeah, all the Loomers, everydayers there. But they're talking about the Big Ten. Apparently, the rumor is they're putting together a bag to steal Texas A&M from the SEC. And my whole thing was, yeah, good. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. You want Texas A&M? You can have them. We'll go get Texas Tech and be in the exact same position.
Right.
Okay. Is that all you want? Okay.
Yeah. We can take Texas Tech and Oklahoma State and actually be better off. Yeah, with Texas and Oklahoma in the SEC, yeah. They have such an inferiority complex. It's hilarious. But yeah, they're discussing that right now. And I do think that Ole Miss probably needs to look at Texas Tech. I think they should be the next call, them and Oklahoma State.
That be y'all's new bitter rival, lifelong rivals.
Ole Miss played Oklahoma State and Texas Tech more than Tennessee since like 1995.
I know. That's why I said that.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
That's your new secondary rivalry.
Yeah, and Ole Miss is beating the hell out of Arkansas right now in basketball.
Basketball. They still play. They play that. What's that? What's basketball?
Hey,
it is an enjoyable secondary sport.
Yes, it's a secondary sport where I get a third of the views of football videos, and everybody's like, "Why haven't you transitioned over yet?" And it's like, because I get a third of the views.
Not gonna get y'all at Dalton Connect. That guy's good.
I stick basketball segments in the third segment of.
Yes, always in the third segment.
So if your people are loomers, would that make mine lovers?
Yes.
Oh.
Yes.
Right.
That's the way you need to think.
All right.
Locked On is for lovers. There we go. I've done all the work for you.
There you go.
And cut.
And scene.
Insane. Yeah. So Georgia doesn't suck at basketball. I'm pretty stoked about that.
Yeah, Ole Miss doesn't suck either. They just have this dichotomy where they're really good at home and they struggle on the road. Of course, now part of struggling on the road is they played the two best teams in the conference in their place.
Winning on the road in the SEC is tough anyway.
Yeah. Did Alabama beat Auburn? End up beating Auburn?
They're up by 2 with 3 minutes left to go in the game.
What do you call that?
They were up 14 at halftime, so it's
Iron Rim matchup.
Mm-hmm. Iron Rim. All I know is I hate rooting for Alabama.
Isn't most rims iron rims?
I'm trying to think of iron and something.
Yeah, they got a iron ball.
I think they gave the trophy in tonight's game, right? For the Iron Bowl.
Jake,
did they? Oh,
did what now?
Doesn't Alabama do something where the Allenboro Trophy is actually given at the basketball game? Whenever
Something like that. Yeah. They claim it's the Iron Bowl of basketball. So yeah, it's
do they give it to themselves every year?
Nah, well, I mean, I don't know how they do it because I think Nate Oates has only lost like 2 games against Bruce Pearl since he's been in Alabama, 2 or 3. So that's the running thing. Yeah. So, but
he shoves them away all the time.
Hey.
Shoves them away.
Hey, that guy. It was a TV timeout. The guy should have got out of our face.
Yeah, absolutely nuts.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Georgia actually has an inside presence, and I'm pretty stoked about that.
Jeb's hammering the keys.
Jeb is yelling at us through his keyboard.
We need to get one of those soft touch keyboards, Jeb.
I forget how clicky my keyboard is.
Yeah,
Georgia, it's fun a lot of times, but not.
Georgia had a nice little buzzer beater against LSU.
Nice.
Oh, did they? LSU's good.
With 2.3 to go. They just hit a really nice shot from way downtown. Bang! Actually, it's from way downtown. Long rebound, and the problem they had last year is now solved because they got a rebound and the guy put it up in the low post.
The home road dichotomy in the SEC this year is just weird.
It is.
I mean, pronounced.
I mean, didn't Kentucky just get beat
by 20?
South Carolina. I mean, it is so weird.
That was funny.
Yeah. But I still think Auburn, Tennessee. I think it's really Tennessee is the top dog in the SEC right now.
Well, Tennessee Kentucky and Auburn. Tennessee has a bye on Saturday.
Yeah.
I mean, no, they play Vanderbilt.
Yeah, so we played this weekend, I think.
Which is the same thing.
Yeah, there you go. Vanderbilt,
they're awful, and they find new ways to be awful. Well, it's not surprising because they don't have anybody they have nobody that can attack the rim except Ezra Mannion, and they have nobody that can get rebounds. They have nobody that can dominate the paint.
No, I don't mean surprising based off their roster. I just mean surprising that they've gotten to this point.
I mean, Jerry Stackhouse is just he thinks that because he's Jerry Stackhouse, all these recruits will flood in.
Yeah.
And he's not.
Before we get out of here tonight, we're getting ready the championship games of this weekend. Who you got for Super Bowl predictions, everybody?
I'm going bold here. I'm going Ravens versus the brand new Lions.
Nice.
I like it.
I want to see the Chiefs versus the Lions. I don't know why. I just do. Sorry.
I want to see Lamar in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I think the Ravens are going to win it all, I think.
All right.
I'm Lions versus the Ravens for me. And I'm rooting for the Lions. The Lions are the team I'm rooting for because I think it would be absolutely awesome. Much like when the Saints won the Super Bowl, I'd like to see the Lions win one.
So if we're all picking the Lions, that means the 49ers are winning, huh?
Yeah. I saw something funny that said the Lions in this century lost all 16 games and still made a conference championship game before the Dallas Cowboys. That is embarrassing.
Yeah. Have an 0-16.
Yeah. God. They got issues in Dallas.
Terrible.
Yeah.
And let's just be honest. We love it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's hilarious.
We love that the Dallas Cowboys have issues. It makes it.
Why are they called America's team when half America hates
Roger Staubach.
That's it.
Yeah, I was gonna say they got that many years ago.
Right.
And just never gave it up.
Kind of like why the Steelers have so many people that travel all over the country because of all the bandwagoners that happen whenever they had their Brady run. Right. Just remember, when you're 70 years old, there's going to be a ton of Patriot fans everywhere.
Yeah, that's true. Jeb, what do you think about our new coach, the Titans?
I don't know. I like the hire. I do. I wanted them to get an offensive guy, so I like that. But I just don't know enough about him to really know because he's young and who knows how it's going to go. they're giving apparently all the control over to the new GM,
Right.
Rand Cawthorn. So we'll just, I mean, the last one screwed up our roster so much that he's got his work cut out for him. But we'll see. We'll see. We'll find out from the draft. I'll be honest with you.
Quarterback this year.
What?
Who are the Titans drafting at quarterback this year?
No, I hope nobody. I think Will Levis has established himself.
They're drafting J.J. McCarthy.
Oh, God.
That would absolutely fit Tennessee.
That'd be what we do.
No, we need offensive linemen in a bad way.
That's what I'm saying. That's how I'm going to know if I like this guy or not. If they get Joe Alt or Fashanu, I think is his name, one of those left tackles in the draft.
They're going to get some.
Then I'll know this is my guy.
They're going to get some random Big Ten offensive lineman in the first round. They're going to trade up for J.J. McCarthy in the second.
No.
Yeah, and that's when I'll know it's done.
It's going downhill. Yeah.
Or they'll make a trade with the Raiders for Aiden O'Connell.
They got to trade away Derrick Henry.
No, I think his contract ran up at the end of the year.
Oh, he's a free agent.
He's a free agent.
Derrick Henry just feels like he's going to end up with the Ravens, right?
That's the best place for him, honestly.
They best fit for him, but they couldn't work out a deal in time.
Yeah.
I think Amy Adam Strunk, they said, killed the deal.
Yeah.
Which honestly, I liked having him around. I love Derrick Henry. I hope he stays, but I don't think he will. But
and his Super Mario 3 tail, I mean, I like it.
Yeah. I really like Derrick Henry,
and you're going to get one on the Chiefs next year,
probably.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Or the Cowboys.
Yeah, I could see that.
Man.
Cliff Kingsbury is the offensive coordinator for the Raiders.
The Raiders.
I like Antonio Pierce. I'm glad they rehired him.
I do too. Antonio Pierce actually coached Matt Corral in high school.
That is so weird to think about.
That is weird.
Wow.
Long Beach Poly?
Yeah, he coached at Long Beach Poly.
Hey,
Matt
Mom.
Corral went to Long Beach Poly?
He did.
I do not know that.
For 1 year.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he went to some other school and got kicked out of that school because he beat up Wayne Gretzky's kid or something like that.
Oh, Oaks Christian probably?
Yeah, he beat up Wayne Gretzky's kid, and all of a sudden it became a Gretzky money versus your no money, and all of a sudden that one wins.
Of course it wins.
All right, Corey, you got 2 minutes.
Oh, it's that time. Okay, so Jake, of course, welcome back. Glad to have you. The fourth amigo is good. We're better as a quartet.
Yeah.
So glad to have you back.
Friday.
All right. Yes, Friday. So we are SEC After Dark. We are brought to you by Stephen Willis, myself, Corey Burton, Jeb Beecham, and Jake Thomas. Stephen Willis, he's a loomer. He's King Loomer, the Locked On Ole Miss podcast. You can find him there, and After Dark commentary with this quartet as we just talk about non-sports related things.
I'm Bowser.
You can find Jeb just right there because he's eventually going to do a movie review for one of those.
Eventually,
I want Gremlins or Ernest Goes to Camp.
I could start with either one of those. I might start with Ernest Goes to Camp. I've been going through an Ernest phase here recently. It's a long story.
Well, if and when he does start, we'll celebrate that like your kid taking a poop for the first time.
Yeah, we may have to.
Anyway, so
drink to that.
Film that. Just don't film that.
Yeah.
For the kids' sake, don't film stuff like that.
Yeah, Jake, you hear that? All right, so Jake Thomas, Tie Talk Live, had a great show. I would have loved – I didn't get a chance to listen to it, but I would have loved to hear your baby brain going at it.
Yeah.
Baby brain is a real thing. I promise.
It is.
Some of the simplest things you go stupid on. So
yeah,
it's a real thing, guys. So Jake Thomas, Tie Talk Live. You can find me. This might take me 2 minutes to list all my podcasts, but you can find me on Bleav In Georgia Dawgs, Locked On Vandy, and during the season, Illegal Motion, and then as well as the After Dark commentary stuff that we do as this quartet. So for the four of us, we thank you for listening. We thank you DeadSoxy, Stewart's Cajun Dill Pickles, and BetOnline.ag. We thank all of you. Find us, like us, subscribe to the YouTube channel. Be a friend, tell a friend, and we'll see you back here next week better than ever. And as always, go Dogs, anchor down, and go Braves.
Hotty toddy.
Go Vols.